Thanks so much for coming back to the table. We're talking about what it means to be a boss lady and support others. Our guest today, LaToya Rowland, she built a successful company selling hair extensions to high-end clients, and now she's a restaurant owner with lines around the corner. That's always a good thing, right? Joining the conversation is Chef Kawan Coville. He's LaToya's business partner and the co-owner of their restaurant, Dirty Bird's Hot Chicken, located in Metro Atlanta. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is so good to have you. And, you know, one of the things that I love about your story is the lessons learned from failure and how candid you are about that, right?
Yeah.
You've been cooking for a long time, right? That's a whole other story. The cooking part, the food is not the issue, right? Sometimes it's the business savvy of making a restaurant stay open. Tell me your story.
Well, I opened my first restaurant, the Five Bistro, March 7th, 2020. And if I would have known that 7 days later.
Who in the world is going to know that? So you don't even have to take responsibility for that one. COVID was the worst for small businesses and big industries.
And you know, like, we thought that COVID was only going to be like 3 weeks. Oh, it'll be over in 3 weeks. Yeah, it was like 3 years later. It was like, all right, now it's over. So for that to be like my first restaurant, it sent me into a downward spiral that took years to come out of. So then I really didn't understand. I knew I was a decent chef, but I didn't understand concepts.
I love the humility, right? You know you can cook, go ahead.
I didn't understand like concepts and what people wanted. I just was like a very creative chef. So afterwards, after the Five Bistro, I tried it again, and it was like, yeah, this is over with.
So what was going wrong the second time that made you say this is over with?
Just not understanding the things that I needed to be better at, like marketing, like understanding social media marketing. And it's not about just posts. Like, who is your customer? Like, how do we find them? What do they look like? What is their age group?
Yeah,
like
LaToya, I see you nodding your head. All lessons that you've had to learn, right?
Of course.
And some that you've mastered magnificently, right?
Yes.
But what was it that you saw that made you go, I still want to help, I still want to invest? Tell me about how the two of you ended up in business together. Because sometimes, let's just be honest, sometimes people won't take a chance on the business owner who has failed repeatedly, and that's not fair. How do we win if we haven't figured out how to bounce back?
I feel like I just knew he had a good product, a good concept, a good brand.
How did you guys meet? Tell me how that first.
Do I tell her?
It really was like
random,
but I would call it God's grace. Like I had just came out of a crazy season in my life. And
you guys have known each other, what, just 10 days?
10 days before we, 10 days before we signed the deal. So we were closing on a different place, and the lady found LaToya for us. Something happened, the deal didn't go through. I was like, man, I'm going to get a job. I'm not about to keep playing around waiting. I'm going back to corporate. And Toy was like, look, I found a spot. Let's go get it. And I'm like, she's like, look, we can still do this. I'm like, all right, come on. The spot was gone, right? The next day, the guy reposted it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the line was sold, but then it was back on the market. So I feel like the lesson there are a couple of lessons here, right? When you know, was it just a matter of trusting your gut or feeling like, listen, I know he's got a good product. He just needs help with all this other stuff. And I know how that. I've got the skills for that part.
Exactly. That's more so what it was. And then I prayed on it, of course, but it was just knowing that if he could handle the food, the concept, and I was like, I have what he's missing. So I think we would be a great team. So
what did you have to teach, and what did you have to sort of accept and kind of let go of the reins on?
It was hard at first for me working with a partner because everything was always by myself. And that's how I always felt, because if you go into any restaurant I've ever owned, I was the only one there. I would take the orders, go back, cook it, bag it, and it was difficult because I was so used to just being by myself. So it was kind of like obtrusive almost, and she's asking for
like here's what I need you to do, and then you're kind of nice, right? And those of us who are really nice tend to get kind of beaten up a little bit. How did you learn to sort of assert yourself, especially, no offense, with a man who's used to doing this his way?
I think now we've gotten better. When we first started, it was kind of like, hey, I need you to do this and help me with this. And I could kind of feel us like we would never clash, but I could feel like a little tension.
Yeah,
I've never had a partner in business. He's, so it was kind of different. But
Yeah.
now I think we've kind of mastered it.
And how much pressure was there for you? I know you've got three children.
Yeah.
You're a father. You're trying to leave behind a legacy. There's pressure for you too, right?
Of
Because
course.
you have established a brand, established a level of success, and you need this to work as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of pressure. Like
Looking
my,
at your beautiful children here.
yeah,
right?
my babies, I would call them and just let them know, like, hey, I'm working on something. They're like, no, it's okay, Dad. We know you're trying your best. Yeah, then when it finally happened, they walked in a restaurant and said, Dad, how did you get all of this?
Oh, talk about that feeling, that moment. Seems like it put everything in perspective, right?
It did. And now what they do is they send me their food orders daily, and I have to Uber package it to their home. So yeah, so it's a good feeling.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Listen, we're going to take a break really quick, but when we return, we're talking business, but we got to try some of this. This looks good. I mean, really good. You've got chicken, you've got salmon, you've got chicken pasta, you got all kinds of things, right? And you're making the chicken pasta, right? All right. It's time to eat, but we're going to keep talking about business lessons. All right. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.